Stephanie Harlow has covered Layla's case on her Crime News Weekly podcast. I've been meaning to talk about it, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. She did an absolutely incredible job of covering the case, and she gave me a lot of praise for being so open and honest and transparent. Because at the end of the day, all I really want is my daughter home. And I have been, for the most part. But there are a few details about the months leading up to her disappearance that I have kept to myself. I've alluded to some of it, but I haven't gone into detail. So it's time for us to have another coffee and conversation. This is going to be a long one, and it's going to be a hard one for me. I do want to start out by saying the events that I'm about to discuss are going to be discussed from my perspective and my point of view. I can almost guarantee you that if you ask Layla or her boyfriend, they're going to give you somewhat of a different account of what happened. It's all perspective. And all I can do is give you the facts from my lens. The other disclaimer is that I didn't keep this from the public because I am embarrassed or ashamed of my daughter. I myself have been in recovery for 7 years. I'm not embarrassed. I am not ashamed. I simply worried that the judgment of others would conflict in my ability to share her story and get the word out. We've discussed how we lost my dad a couple years ago, and Layla took it pretty hard. We've discussed the whole traumatic situation with my son and his diabetes diagnosis in January. What we didn't discuss was that in December, I started to have concerns about Layla and her behaviors and started to wonder if there was something going on substance-wise with her around Christmas time. Did reach out to a family member who was kind of in that scene and asked some questions. What's going on with them, etc. I was told that it wasn't as big a deal as I was making it out to be, and that she was fine and everything was fine. At the end of February of this year, Layla's boyfriend was arrested. When he was arrested, Layla's cell phone that he had with him when he was driving around was confiscated by the police. Her boyfriend's family also put Layla out. They chose to blame her for his arrest for whatever reason. I'm not going to go into details about what all he was arrested for. I don't even know the exact details, to be completely honest with you. I don't want to say. A few days after her boyfriend was bonded out, my daughter called me early in the morning, crying hysterically. I haven't slept in days. We're staying with these crazy people. They're always fighting. Can we? I just need to sleep. I need a shower, etc. Absolutely. Where are you? I'm dropping off the kids at school and I'll be right there to get you. I pick them up, bring them back here. They slept for hours. I mean, probably until the next day about. They got up at one point to eat. They were starved. They were miserable. And I just remember feeling this weight and darkness around them. The next few days go by and they don't smile. She is not herself. It's not a very pretty situation. And so I have all these concerns. By the end of the week, my concerns were confirmed. I won't go into detail right here, right now, exactly how that happened. I might be able to do that at a later date. I do feel like this is my daughter's story, and it's unfair for me to tell it. But with things being the way that they are, I do want to clear some things up. Upon confirmation of my worst fears, I told my kid right out here behind these doors behind me, we sat on the deck and we cried for an hour, maybe longer. And I begged her to stay here with me and let me get her clean and detoxed, or let me take her to a program. I told her I would detox her and her boyfriend together in my basement if I had to. I would research and I would get it done. I begged and begged and begged, and she had a plan, or so she thought, that she was going to be able to do it on her own. And I know from experience that early on in active addiction, you truly do believe that you have control and that you can stop when you want. And I'm telling you, y'all, this was very, very early on for her. This was all very, very new to her. I don't say that to say that because she was a newly addicted person, she deserves more love and help, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just letting you know that she really didn't know what she was getting herself into. Prior to this, Layla was anti-substances, right? She maybe partook in some of the devil's lettuce, but other than that, no, she kicked people out of her life for being addicted to pretty much anything. She was incredibly judgmental towards people in active addiction. I had put her through a lot in my years of, and if y'all want like a whole story time on that, I'll happily share it. It's just not the time and place right now. By the end of the conversation, I had to tell her that I couldn't have her in my home using those substances. Her brothers are here. Her baby is here. And I couldn't put them in danger. And I did feel like having that in the house was going to do just that. I did eventually end up applying for temporary custody of Nova Grace. There's a whole nother story that goes with that, and I'm not sure I'm ready to tell it. It's Nova Grace's business, and give me some time, please. I will say that it was about 6 weeks after I had discovered what I had discovered that I chose to petition the court for temporary custody. Our first court date was May 30th, I believe. And we had another court date set up for June 28th. And Layla went missing on June 27th. And the fact that she didn't show up to court that morning cemented within me that something was terribly wrong. Because I know her, and I know she would not just walk away from Nova Grace. Not in a million years, regardless of what other things were going on for her. When we cried on this back porch, most of the tears were because she didn't want Nova to have to go through the things that she did. And not just with me. I am not a perfect parent. I don't try to stand before you and say that I am flawless and that I had never messed up with my kids, because I still do it all the time. I've made big mistakes and small ones, and all I can continue to do is learn from the mistakes that I do continue to make. Try not to make the same ones twice. Yes, Layla was struggling mentally and with substances, but I don't believe that that should deny any of us the chance to find her or the opportunity to fight to bring her home.